The war between stupidity and knowledge. No greater example than this administration. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, the 17th of March. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Let those green rivers flow, and just be careful out there. In the meantime, as we said, that we were watching the unbelievable war of knowledge and ignorance as we watch this administration work and try to do their thing. And it is frightening that the American people can stand for what is going on in this country. The destruction of the United States of America has never been in more peril than it is now. We continue to leave the borders open, allowing the illegals to flow into this country to infiltrate businesses and take away jobs from hardworking Americans. We had in the last 3 years, we have lost over 1 million American jobs that have been replaced by many of them by illegals. But let's leave the borders open. Let's so that we can have the current administration continue to buy votes and let them come across with no problem. We have a major problem with inflation that the administration continues to tell us that is getting better. Well, I don't know. I keep going to the grocery store and I keep spending more and more money, and it's ridiculous. And especially when you look at the farming side of the equation, the producer side of the equation, prices are at ridiculously low levels, where at the grocery store they're at ridiculously high levels. So we continue to watch the inflation spiral out of control, but we are really reaching that place of what we saw in the 70s with another great administration, which caused stagflation, which is the worst of all. Okay. And of course, we are in major, major trouble. Okay. As the Americans are getting crushed by the massive debt they built for themselves. Now, I can't blame the administration for the ignorance and spending habits of those who continue to get deeper and deeper in debt, as we see credit card debt that many people are maxed out and paying the minimum. Okay. So I think that the enormous amount of debt is certainly the administration has part to blame for the high prices, but certainly you as an individual have to watch your spending as well. Unfortunately, our government, and that goes for all administrations in my lifetime, does not watch their spending, okay, because they're spending our money. And isn't that a joke? But we'll get more into that in our commentary. But listen, industrial production took another huge revised hit. You all forget that you have to, the headline number is one number. The revisions that come out later are the real numbers. Okay. So they get you pumped up. And we've seen the markets continue to fly. Of course, there is a little bit of trouble in Denmark here now, a little trouble in the old market here now, but we'll see what happens. But I think that, listen, producer price index hotter than expected. So if you think that the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates, please go see a doctor tomorrow, because they're not going to be able to cut rates unless it is purely a political move. Now, they're not above or below doing that. Okay. But, if you don't understand the Federal Reserve, first of all, the Federal Reserve is a name to make you think it is part of the government. The Federal Reserve is a private banking institution, okay, which is represented by 12 banks. And I think that you have to remember that there's always political favor. Why do you think that most donors donate pretty much equally to both sides, with the exception of the upcoming election and the election of 2016 and the election of 2020, where most will not give to President Trump because, of course, they don't want him to get in. Even his own party doesn't want him to get in because, of course, he's going to take away the gravy train, the money train. Okay. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Look at what that imbecile Chuck Schumer is doing right now, who's a Jew, okay, who is bashing Netanyahu because, of course, Netanyahu has been one of the helpers of keeping Israel at least alive. We have continued to have these protests, and Schumer wants to have new elections to replace Netanyahu. Now, again, you may or may not like Bibi, but at the end of the day, he is a strong hand. And boy, if we had a strong hand in America, we wouldn't be in the shit we're in today. Okay, we wouldn't be in these problems if we had somebody who had some balls and brains and wasn't more worried about how much money they could steal for their family. Okay, and steal from your family. Okay, because never in my lifetime has there been more of the stealing from America, either for personal gain or for gain for political gain. Okay, we're watching the stripping of Americans of their capital, of their money, by either instituting more taxes, the hidden tax of inflation. But hey, if you don't care, just keep voting the same way. Keep putting the same assholes in there that have slowly stole your money. And congratulations to New York, Illinois, and California, who's had the biggest amount of outflow of population in the last couple of years. Because, of course, who the fuck would want to live there? And those hellholes that want to rip you off and charge you ridiculous taxes, okay, just for the privilege of living in a society where there's no more crime than anywhere else. Okay? There's more murders than anywhere else, and you can blame the guns all you want, but the criminals are going to get the guns, whether you have them or not. The criminals are getting them. Okay, the allowing the illegals to come in and run around rampant, okay, and give them a free pass and let them out. Again, hey, what can I tell you? Again, you have the choice. And let's say finally somebody stood up, okay, and said enough of the transgender and allowing men to compete in women's sports. Okay, again, I said it from the beginning. I'm saying it again now that it was a bunch of bullshit. And thank God Riley Gaines stepped up and 15 other athletes sue over the NCAA over transgender madness. I mean, listen to me. Again, women and men are different, okay? They both have their own skill set, but when it comes to physical, men are generally stronger than women, okay? And of course, you put a mediocre men's athlete into a woman's sport, and he can go from not mediocre to maybe a potential star. It is not fair. It is not right. And it's stupid because you are what you're born. If you mentally want to be the opposite or something else, go for it. But you should not gain an advantage with the ability to compete against somebody who's not as good as you. It's the same as what they did in Little League baseball, okay, for boys. Okay, they changed the age. Some parent probably needed to have his kid play down so they'd have a chance to play. And they brought in and changed the birth dates so that actually kids a year older could compete with the kids a year younger. It's a scam system, and it is designed because somebody bitched and whined and moaned, and it's ridiculous. Okay, now I think the election coming up is going to be interesting. The Gen Z is very pessimistic, okay? And they could decide this election. I don't know that they're going to so easily run to President Biden, because certainly this administration has done a tremendous amount of damage to our economy, to our personal finances, to this country, to our relations with other countries, to our allies. This has been probably in my lifetime the worst administration ever. Okay, I don't know that there's ever been one as bad as this. I don't know if the political system has ever been as bad as it is today, and that goes for both sides of the aisle. Okay, it would be one nice thing if we could just get rid of them all and rebuild. Okay, it's like you get a bad company, you tear it down and rebuild it. Well, we got a bad government. We should tear it down and rebuild it, because we are so far off the Constitution that it's disgusting. And of course, Social Security, well, at this current rate, Social Security will be busted by 2033. Now, again, for me, it won't matter. I'll probably be dead by then, so I won't care. And I'm collecting now. Okay. But at the end of the day, this has been the problem, right? Because no politician wants to step up and take away Social Security because they don't want to lose the votes. Okay. So I think we have a lot of problems, and I think that we have to take care of it because right now we're dealing with ignorance and stupidity, and this administration is as dumb as it gets. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out of a break. We'll be right back with our market report after the break. What up, kids? Well, again, as we like to tell you every week, we have a couple of sponsors for the show and other brokers, and I have other brokers just to give you full disclosure. But again, the two brokers that I've chosen for you, and I always recommend that if you're a futures trader, have a futures broker. If you're an equity trader, have an equity trader. If you trade them both, have two brokers. In the meantime, we have two brokers we recommend, and of course, Capital Trading Group, who has been with us for 10 years and have a great organization, great customer service, and they're a great futures broker. They're partnered with us in a couple of our programs. I just urge you to check them out. I'm not telling you to switch to them. I'll tell you to check them out. It's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba, and it's on the side if you missed that. And of course, trader brokerage for equities and options. Look, $10 a month flat saves me $100,000 a year in commission. You got great customer service, and we can automate our programs through Trader, no cost on either side. Our only cost to you is if you have the hedging model. This is the licensing for the hedging software, but Trader doesn't charge. It's $10 a month flat, and you can get automatic trading, auto trading done for you. Try.trader.com/Bubba, and of course, Wall Charts, our new partner, which we're doing webinars with, and they've got some great software and some great platforms, and I can't wait for you to check it out. And again, everything's scrolling on the side there. And of course, our high school program, which is being rebuilt, make sure you check that out as well. Scrolling on the bottom. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 17th of March. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and let that green beer flow. In the meantime, the markets weren't flowing so much green this week. It was a pretty much of a choppy week. I wouldn't say, again, there's never anything to be, totally nuts or concerned about. Again, I think before you start to look at anything, you just got to recognize what's going on. Now, overall, the trend of the market is still higher. We're still long here. Now, again, I can make a case that it's over, but I'm not going to make that case. It just doesn't make sense. Why not just follow the trend? But we did have a minorly down week, and that was actually brought on by the action on Friday, triple witching Friday. But there is a lot of concern, and I think there's a lot of things to think about in the overall market. But at the end of the day, again, we are long, okay, all four major indices. But I could see that switching, and I could see it getting very ugly here soon. But again, I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm telling you, I give you my exact positions, okay? As far as the rest, the dollar, which we don't trade anymore. And again, it's not because we don't like the dollar. It's because of the cost of going to a New York exchange, so they stick it to you. So why not just use the euro currency, the CME? In the meantime, the dollar itself has been, look, the dollar has come down a little bit, and certainly after peaking at, 114 a while back, it has come significantly down, but it's still strong. And again, I don't think it really matters. It's part of the fiat currency system, which is a scam anyways. I mean, there's nothing backing anything. Everybody talks about Bitcoin and what doesn't back that. Well, nothing backs the US dollars or other currencies except the full faith and credit of their governments. And I don't know what you think, but there's no full faith and credit for me. But in the meantime, we would be short the dollar, the euro currency. We are long. The Bitcoin, we're still long. Of course, it's been a hell of a run. In the metals, gold and silver, we're long. In platinum, we would be long. Now, we don't trade it because, of course, it's not liquid enough, but certainly I'd be a buyer back around 900. Copper, we're long and continues to go higher. It doesn't make a lot of logical sense to me, but who the hell am I? Nat gas, we're short once again, and crude oil, we're still long, and you can see crude oil exploding to the upside, which is a little concerning because I think there's some kind of news coming out in the next few days, but we'll see how that trades out and how that figures in. In the grain markets, listen, we're long corn, we're long beans, we're short wheat, but they still look pretty weak. It's still a concern what's going on in the grain markets. I think that, again, there's a lot of farmers that I know aren't going to plant this year, which, again, because why take the risk? The cost of money plus the high cost of inputs makes it sometimes, in certain cases, it makes it good not to do anything. The meats, I think that today or Friday, okay, because today's St. Patrick's Day, but Friday, I think was probably the top of the cattle markets. Big day for beef today, corned beef and cabbage, the big St. Patty's Day. And when I was a kid and in the meat business with my father, we used to stock up for here, and then prices would fall significantly after St. Patty's Day. So we'll see. In the meantime, we don't trade cattle anymore, but I'm shorted personally. Hogs continue to try to charge a little higher, and I'm long. In the softs, cocoa continues to explode. It's amazing the run that this has been on. I mean, it's over 80 cents now. Cotton we're still long. Sugar, we're still long. Still short. OJ, we're still short, and coffee, we're still long. Again, can I tell you where we're going? I can't. I can just tell you that play the market and play the patterns that you see and not try to get too excited one way or the other, and make sure that you just protect yourself and have an out when you're done. But the markets do look like they might be in a little bit of trouble, and I would be just a little bit concerned. Again, I would never panic, but I'd be a little bit concerned. Bubba's Bottom Line, top Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out for a break. We'll be right back with our commentary. Well, kids, again, our sponsors. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, just to give you the disclosure that I do have other brokerage accounts, but Capital Trading Group is one. Trade Your Brokerage is two. Wealth Charts, and of course our high school programs, scrolling on the sides and the bottom. And now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, March the 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day. And, of course, we've had a crazy weekend of basketball, and we're having the NCAA start on Thursday. We'll actually start Tuesday with the playing games, but been an exciting time. And, of course, always everybody kind of gets involved. It's kind of like the Super Bowl for basketball. But in the meantime, as I look around and I see the ignorance and stupidity that we are dealing with, and you have a president that does nothing but lie to the American people. You've got the rest of Congress, and again, I don't care which side of the aisle you reside on. They're all stealing from us. There is no reason for inflation to be at the levels it is. There is no reason for our taxes to be more. And again, you may not think you're paying more taxes, but you are. It is known as the hidden tax of inflation. We continue to be misled and missteered and lied to because of the revisions that we continue to get afterwards. Jobs suck, okay, because we're replacing good jobs with jobs that don't pay. You see stores closing everywhere. So I ask you this question: when in history have you ever seen this much hatred, this much violence, and this much stuff going on when you have a president that has no power, that has no balls, and refuses to put his foot down and take care of the issues in this country? Okay, we have become the laughingstock throughout. Okay, as we continue to do what we do, and it's about time that we change that, unless you want to live in a communist country, because certainly that's where we're headed. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horowitz. Have a great day. Enjoy the basketball if you're a fan, and Selection Sunday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Day Update. Take care.